So in this video I want to show you a quick way to create a report showing the data collection activities by the T2s. So I've logged into WiseMonkey and opened up the Barley database, and I'm going to go into the dog status data. The first thing I'm going to do is download this data. So I'm going to go down here to export dog status, and I'm going to export with the parents as well. So tick this little box here that says export parents and then click export dog status. Now this will take a little while to come through because it's quite a big database now. We've got over 12,000 records. So you can ask this to download, create that downloadable data file, go make a cup of tea and come back a little while later. And now we can see that the little envelope icon has appeared in the top left here, so we know that our data is waiting for us to download. So we click on that, and here's our data. Click here, and then to download file. And we'll just let that open. Okay, so here's our downloaded data file. Okay, so the first page just shows us a little bit of a summary on when we downloaded it and who downloaded it, and then this is the actual data. And the bit that we're going to be looking for is the activity date and the T1 or T2 name. Now notice that it is the dog status data that arrives first, takes up the earlier columns. You can tell it's dog status data because in the reference column here it starts with a DS for dog status. If we slide all the way across here we can see another reference column, and this time it's dog and then a number, and that is the Dogalog data. So all of the data in the latter columns is for the Dogalog, and then go back to the earlier columns and that's the dog status. And so what we like to do is to capture the column with the T1 and T2 name and the activity date. Now we know that quite a few of these are blank, and that's because people didn't fill in the dog status form when they were using EpiInfo, and that's okay because we're focusing more on recent data collection. And scroll right down to the bottom, there's a lot of data here. Click on that very last name in that column, and then slide all the way back up again, and we're just going to hold down the shift key and then highlight all of those columns. And now we're going to go to insert pivot table, and we're going to put it in a new worksheet, so we click OK. And then in this pivot table we're going to put in the T1 or T2 name, so we tick that and it goes into the row. We're going to take the activity date, and actually the activity date goes into the column labels, and here we end up getting a list of all of the T1s and T2s, and then the dates around the top. And the other place we need to put activity date is down here in values, and it's going to give us a count of activity. So that's the number of dog status records that appear on that particular date. Now this is giving us a single column for every day. We don't really want that, so if we're just going to click on that first one, and we're going to ask to group selection, and we've got months highlighted here, but actually we want years as well. So let's click group selection again, and this time hold down the shift key. Months is already highlighted. Hold down the shift key and then click years. So months and years are highlighted, and click OK. And then you can see that we get a count of the number of dog statuses for each month within the 3 years, span that Program Dharma has been working. Now if we scroll down right to the bottom here, we'll see we've got lots and lots of blanks for EpiInfo days, but they stop here. That's in September 2017, because after that point it was required to enter a T1 or T2 name. So you can see we have no blanks here. Now this is not the easiest one to read, so here's my suggestion. I'm going to close that 2016. We maybe don't mind too much about those earlier data collection. If you go to design and click banded rows, makes it a little bit easier to read across. So now we can see for each T1 or T2, and I'm in there for where for some data that I had to complete independently. You can see each of the T1s and T2s and then the number of records they've collected by month. So what this allows you to see is people that have collected very little data. I'm assuming this person has now left. And here we have Ekarini with only one dog status collected in March of 2018. We can also see where you've got not just where the total is low, but where you've got big blanks. So you've got many, many months where there's been no data collected. And then, of course, you've got the examples of people that have done a lot of work in the recent months. So what this table allows you to do is very quickly see the amount of data collection effort that has been going on by each T2 or T1. Now, I appreciate that they do lots of other things, so it may well be that a very low number of dog status entries in the last few months is because they've been moved to doing a different job. So this table is to use as you see fit. It's just a way of looking at data collection effort by the PD team. All right, well, that's it for this video. Thanks very much.